What is that?
That was a penis. I don't know the characters, but it was there.
If you are.
Alright, I think we are now live.
Okay, I'm glad I didn't say that at the start of our stream. Yeah, we're live. I just got the notification.
I hope that the downloaded version of this is good enough quality to use. Otherwise, I might try to record it separately.
Right.
Definitely need someone to verify if the audio is good. Like if the balance between the I actually lowered the in-game volume a little bit to kind of counteract something that happened with the Gohan stream we did the other day.
It's still pretty loud, the music. Like, you can hear you and me, but it's still pretty loud.
Alright, let's try that instead.
That sounds good.
Oh, we got another follow. Mega Master. Mega Master 196 just followed us. All right, let's see what we got here. Alright, and with that, I believe we're ready to begin. So, welcome to Fate Extella. So, this is going to be the run where I finally, at last, achieved the Platinum Trophy for the game. I started this a little bit back when me and Michelle first started the actual Star Crush Souls channel, and I tabled it because streaming tools were not optimal for us back then, but more recently I've kind of gone a little bit further down the rabbit hole and figured out how to do certain things. So now we're really ready to go. And so this is going to be a very thorough run where I'm going to be going through the entire story, not skipping any dialogue, getting every single bond conversation with the main three servants, going through the side stories, going through every single free battle option, and we're going to be getting the Platinum Trophy. We're going to be doing all of this on the hardest difficulty. And so this is going to serve two purposes, well, technically three. The first being to gather footage for the Extella video as part of the Timing Retrospective series I've been working on. And the other is to be able to talk about the game in sort of a raw, free-form style with chat, to be able to share my sort of raw, honest thoughts about it unscripted and kind of unpack some things that may or may not actually be unpacked in the video. And then the final one is to get the Platinum Trophy. And I've only gotten the Platinum Trophy with one other PlayStation game, that being Valkyria Chronicles. So it's not something that I do for every game, even games that I really, really love. But I figured if I did it for Valkyria Chronicles, and judging by the trophies that are in this game, let's go ahead and take a look at that right now. We will be able to show off exactly what we're up against here. So we're 84% of the way complete with all the trophies in the game, and of course this is going to sync data between the Vita version and the PS4 version. So you may notice here that some of these trophies were unlocked in 2016, and if the eagle-eyed viewer may notice, hey, that's before this game even came out in English. That's because those were unlocked on the Japanese Vita version, whereas some of these were unlocked on the English PS4 version here after that came out. Like, look at that, November 2016. So what we have to do to get our Platinum Trophy is we need to... this is the most irritating one by far. So we need to get every single Mystic Code Codecast garment thing in the game, which is incredibly irritating because the vast majority of them are redundant and useless because we've already unlocked better ones. So there was no reason for me to spend the QP on these weaker ones because we just didn't need them. So, but unfortunately, the game requires you to have all of them in order to get this one trophy. So it's irritating, but I actually don't have enough QP to really buy a lot of these right now, so I'm going to stop and not buy any of them until the very, very end. I'm going to use the equipment that I have all the way to the end, and after all of the QP I'm going to get by completing the story mode on very hard difficulty, I should have enough QP to buy everything that I'm missing. I have about 30 of the 92 different Mystic Codes that need to be purchased for this trophy. It's stupid. And then when we do that, we will automatically get this trophy at the same time. So this one is for 100% completion in the gallery, which you need to have this one plus all of the dialogue conversations and all the bond conversations with every single servant, which we have already done. So basically, we will get this one and this one at the exact same time. We have defeat 5,000 aggressors. We will get that naturally over the course of this run, and if we don't, we will just grind for it a little bit at the end. I've been told there are some optimal stages where that can be done. And then this one, the gold trophy, Supreme Sovereign, is complete the game on very hard difficulty. Now, when I initially read this, I thought that it was for completing all of the single-player chapters on very hard difficulty. So basically completing the main story campaign, all 4 routes. But from what I've been reading, it seems like that's actually not the case. It seems like you have to complete all of the free battle maps on very hard difficulty to clear this. Which, if that's the case, we can do that pretty easily because we can just use Nero, she's at the highest level, and blitz through those pretty quickly. But again, I think what we'll do is we will do the main story mode on very hard mode, and I've already done a little bit of level grinding on Tamamo and Altera to get them at the appropriate level to do that with. So all that's left after that is to increase 1 Servant's Bond level to 30 and 3 Servant's Bond levels to 30. So Nero is almost there. She's at Bond level 26. And then the other servants that have a Bond level that is close to 30 is, of course, Tamamo, Altera, Artoria, actually, and Karna. Karna's side missions are incredibly easy. He gains a Bond level almost after every single chapter without even trying. And then Artoria is kind of the same way, where her Bond level, I mean, obviously she's the last character you get almost, except for like Archimedes. So her Bond level started coming out of nowhere. But I basically just wanted to continue to grind up the levels on the characters that are already high. Tamamo is the trickiest because she cannot maintain combos very optimally because of her playstyle. So what we may end up having for our 3 servants at level 30 Bond level is Nero, Altera, and Karna, which is really random. But so with that out of the way, let's go ahead and begin the Flame Poem arc on the very hard difficulty. Very hard difficulty, and Nero, of course, is the highest level at level 55 because we play as her twice over the natural progression of the game, whereas the other 2 we don't play as nearly as much. So I had to actually deliberately put some grinding into Tamamo and Altera as well to get them up to a high enough level where they can actually stand a chance on very hard difficulty. And even then, we may run into a roadblock with Tamamo because she's just not strong, but we'll get to that when we get to that. Umu is softly from the background. So what's interesting about the sort of prologue story here is that I can't help but wonder if this is a reference to some of the like alternative science theories about like the end of the Ice Age, where there was like a comet impact, because they date this around 12,000 years ago, which is really interesting because it almost perfectly fixates itself right in that timeline. There's a hypothesis, I guess you could say, about a comet impact that brought the end of the Ice Age and wiped out a lot of the Ice Age era megafauna. And there's also myths about how, like, you look at the Epic of Gilgamesh, and Gilgamesh hears about a great flood from Utanapishtim, I think is how you pronounce that. And he basically, those floods could be because of the melting of the ice caps and stuff like that. And some people even believe that was sort of more or less adapted to be Utanapishtim's flood became Noah's flood, which found its way into the the Bible and all that. So there's a lot of weird alternate theories. I mean, it borderlines on like ancient alien conspiracy theories and stuff like that, but I can't help but wonder if that's what they're like referencing with this storyline. Yep. So I realize this is actually like a flash forward to the end of the Flame Poem arc, but when I first played this, I thought that this was like a flashback to the end of Fate Extra, like the end of the previous game. So this is our first combat sequence, and we basically just have to stall out for time, and this just sort of gives us a little tutorial where we learn the controls. And by doing so, we get our double phantasm here in a minute, and we take on this mysterious white creature here in the background. Also, please ignore the fact that our Extella maneuver gauge is already full. I mean, we're just that high of a level, I guess. I didn't mean to do that, but okay. I try not to, like, redundantly button mash. I usually have a particular combo in mind that I like to do, and Nero plays extremely well in this game. So Nero, aside from being the character that you're required to play as the most in the single player, she also happens to just be simultaneously one of the best. Just because she has such a great moveset and is just so fast and agile. Speed is one of the greatest assets that a servant can have in this game. Certain people that have played Extella Link may feel like her the models in this game don't hold up very well by comparison, but I still think they're quite charming. And of course Nero has like the boob physics and the dress physics. Alright, unfortunately I have to actually skip the opening so I don't get copyright flagged by the opening song, which sucks because it's an amazing opening. I'll still show like footage from it in the video, but I can't actually play the song, unfortunately. Should I actually read out the dialogue?
I don't know.
I guess that would help to like pace where I'm at. Of course, we're playing as the female Hakuno, so... But I'm not going to try to do a voice. I'm just going to do...
You don't want to do a girl voice?
No, I'm just going to do a voice. Imagine a deep hole, growing and swelling, nothingness spreading out to blind your eyes and eat your heart. The sheer scale of it, it's difficult to put into words.
これほどの質量とはなんということか。こんなものは今の人類の手に余る。アルタミラの石碑、セファールの巨人、これが月すらも滅ぼす異様。だが倒すしかない。囚われた我々が自由を得るにはそれしかない。だってそうでしょう。そのためのレガリア、そのためのムーンセルなのだから。
Well, I mean, that's actually correct. It's glaring at you. It's targeting you. You should realize that without being told, you can see that its glowing points of light are its eyes. A giant shadow from the unknown. It's looking at you. That giant shadow is not a servant. That's what your nature, your soul screams. But it's not an enemy program. Your mind, your experiences scream out with that conviction. All that comes from your body, your instincts, is a cry of wordless terror on your quivering tongue. The implication, of course, being that this thing is neither servant nor program that belongs in the moon cell. It's coming. It's here. The giant shadow spreads out with overwhelming speed. With that much mass and velocity, its kinetic energy is on par with a plane crash. How much damage could it do to Seraph? A thought runs through your head. There's no way this ends well. There's only an instant before the darkness engulfs all. Just as in the records and the warnings the moon witnessed long ago. Astron's out there crying outside the door. So I'll ask you one last time. Someone with nothing to look back on. Someone who has nothing to flash from front of your eyes. An empty shell. Was that what you were? Are you really that kind of creature? Is she coming to join us?
She's coming to join us.
She like tries to walk through the mess of cables on the floor. No, I'm not. That's what my soul screams out. Something's there. That's what my mind screams out. Something irreplaceable. That's what my body screams out. In that moment, a voice illuminates the darkness. I see a gleaming light. It's like daybreak. The Titan disappears, and the darkness shatters. The voice and the light approach me. So, what I believe is happening here is, this is all that Red Hakuno remembers from the moment that she split herself into three, basically. So,
Did she split herself, or was she forced to split?
so she wouldn't be like torn in half by Altera. If you, we'll get to that when we get to the Dawn arc. But yeah, that's so like when Archimedes brings her there, Altera picks her up and she's like, abort, 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 and like slaps the regalia, and that's what splits her into three. I just need to do a fade to black right here, and because he's like, you're awake. You were trying to cross the border, weren't you? Stupid Skyrim joke. That's like my favorite meme. So like whenever a video like fades to black, and I just wait to see if it fades in, because it always fades into that Skyrim opening, and sometimes I can call it, and every time I do, I'm just like, yes, this joke is so good. She didn't make any noise on last night's stream. I was kind of disappointed. I wanted to hear some meows on stream. Do we want to do a silly name for this, or do I want to go with the name I always go with?
What do you go with?
I go with the name of the prototype protagonist.
Oh, I did Ambrosia Rosenthal as mine, so...
Jamie with her Eggs Benedict.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I went with Eggs Benedict for Nocturne, which as an homage to her run of this. I think I'm actually going to go with the canon name here. So
What is Hakuno's last name?
I think it's Kishinami. I'm looking up how to spell it now.
Astro.
Yeah, Hakuno Kishinami. That's what I'm going to go with. First name. Hakuno. This is really funny on the Japanese version, putting in the name without knowing what the characters were. I ended up with something closely resembling Ayaka Saijo, but it was a little janky still. And I guess with, it was either one of the mangas or it was Extra Last Encore, basically retconned the name to be different for the male versus the female version, because they're like two different characters in Extra Last Encore. Kind of reminds me of how they did with the Persona protagonist whenever they made the Persona anime, where they would, for 3, 4, and 5, they would retcon the name of the protagonist. I've awakened from my slumber. It feels as if I'm witnessing an old dream. Murder? I mean, there's plenty of that to come.
Yeah, there is.
I'm sitting in a chair. Was I sleeping sitting up? As I raise my head, my joints ache. I must have been in this pose for a few hours at least. Look at her. You know what Praetor means, right? It's basically like it's a term for like Holy One or something like that, basically. Which is really funny considering this came out in 2016, which is the same year that Doom came out, Doom 2016, where your armor is called the Praetor suit, and you are not exactly a holy person, but you are killing demons. The one that goes before God? Or the one that goes before, just in general?
Just the one that goes before.
That's interesting.
It's like a It's like a ranking thing in ramen.
Yeah. So we don't remember Nero's name. We know who she is, and we know that she's our servant, but it's like we have amnesia. And she does a cool little pose here. She's like, oh, I would be so joyed to introduce myself. Smug, her like smug face there as she does it too. Let the flames rekindle your love for me. I am the finest instrument ever forged, the heroic spirit of the sword. I am your servant. And that is how one makes an introduction. If it fosters the bond between us, I'll say it again as many times as you please. When I see her smile, I can feel the enjoyment deep within her heart. That feeling flows through me and starts to clear the fog from my head. I can vaguely remember awkward dreams, far removed from whatever my real memories are. But as long as she's by my side, I know I'll never have to fear or doubt a thing. Saber says those words. I look around the room for the first time. What is this? So essentially, because we won the Holy Grail War in the Fate Extra storyline, Nero is sort of crowned the supreme sovereign of the Moon Cell, and so she can kind of sculpt and cultivate a domain of her own, and that's what this is. I don't remember the all of the different domains in Extella have really funky names, and I'll be sure to describe them as we go. She literally prepared a red carpet for her support lineup here, her army of additional servants that are on her team. I feel like I'm missing something important. What exactly happened to me? Yeah, why did she? Why did she let us go in there by ourselves? Would have been a very different outcome if she didn't. We were more so dragged there by Archimedes.
I was about to say, like, it wasn't
my
choice, I don't think.
But you know what? Honestly, if she did go, she probably would have been fucking killed by Altera, so... asleep for a whole day? What's the Moon Cell core? Oh, we technically didn't even actually go to the core. That's not where we went, technically, but we'll get to that. Nero wants to take us to her room. And we should expect no less from Nero that this is how it looks.
No.
Or that she has a ridiculously huge bed.
I want a bed like that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. No. How do you find
Yeah, I mean, she...
Not like there's Amazon.
It would be Amazon.exe instead of Amazon.com. Alright, so first bond conversation. Let's do it. What should I do now? At the very least, I know our names. I'm Hakuno Kishinami. She answers to Saber. We clearly have the same kind of relationship, but I don't know the details. And then there's this place. Where am I? Why does the word seraph pop into my head when I ask myself that? Moon! I love how it's like a stock photo of the moon. It's funny to hear her pronounce it too. In 2032, oh god, that's like not even that. That's not even that far away from now. It's funny I made the reference to like Ancient Aliens earlier when literally the moon cell is like Ancient Alien stuff because it is it is an ancient computer that they stuck on the moon. It's an ancient alien supercomputer they stuck on the moon to protect the Earth from world-ending threats. Also find it funny that the localization of Extella refers to mages as wizards, but it's all interchangeable anyway. Magic with a K. Our private lunar abode. She's like not fussing or making any noise.
You know, her name was like one of the names on the list was indeed Nero.
That would have been funny.
Yeah. I actually put it in the hat, and that's how we got asked.
That's funny.
It was a few names.
My memories are still in fragments, but I do recall a few images here and there. The Holy Grail War, many masters and their powerful servants, NPCs running the war from behind the scenes. So many combatants, but only one winner at the end of it all. And was that winner truly me? Now she's meowing. Okay. That's it for that. So we can't really customize anything right now because we haven't done the first actual level yet. Sleep sounds good, even if I am just starting to wake up.
Oh god, sleep sounds so delicious.
As I close my eyes, I realize I have one more question for now.
We're married now.
Smug. Rejoice!
Rejoice!
Oh, is my voice gravelly enough to do it? Yorokobe shonen.
セラフを支配する王権の証。世が史上最高の皇帝であることを示す。そうであろう。
She's like this.
I wish it was Rose.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, yeah, she's gonna refer to it that way. But, yeah, that's how they like to think of it, but this is the actual prize we won for winning the Holy Grail War, and it's what signifies us as the supreme sovereign of the moon cell, and obviously allows her to do that cool form change that we'll see pretty soon, and it is again designed to be a weapon used to protect the Earth against potential alien threats, which is that sure was a sentence I just said, and this is the same universe that Fate takes place in. So yeah, that's at those words the light in the room goes down. As I start to fall asleep, it grows dark outside, not because of the real sun, but because Seraph, a serial phantasm, that's what Seraph stands for, that manifests as its own world wants to. All actions, even those of nature, have meaning, but human actions are their own special category. And so Saber and I have taken human form in order to in our digital selves. I'm thinking too much. I should take Saber's advice and sleep. I know that when I wake up, a new world will be waiting for me. I need to find out what the word Extella actually means. Okay, so Nero's domain is called Mare Aurum, the capital of roses. She's like sitting in the corner, pouting. You will soon. What is a king without vassals? And so, there he is. Yeah, they're all dudes. She would not trust any women in her ranks at all. Behold, my men at arms! These 4 warriors will proclaim my sovereignty throughout the moon cell. But this is absolutely good though.
第一の章ケルトはアルスターの光の巫女赤き槍の勇士クラスはランサー神名空風林
おう久しぶりだなお嬢ちゃん
I'm glad he remembers that. I mean, where is Rin in this? Like, Rin must just be gone, right? I mean, I guess they have to apply either plausibility to that she could be dead or Ronnie could be dead. Either way, both Ku and Lu Bu are in this. Unlike in Last Encore! I can see your ankle, sir.
第二の章姿なく音もなく
See, he was the most pain in the ass for me to beat when we did the Holy Grail War, so I made sure to summon him with perfect allegiance to my cause so I wouldn't have to deal with him again. Man, Li Shuwen was a pain in the ass and extra. Have you seen the Fairy Knight Gawain? Oh my god. So it's like a Gawain gender bend thing and it's fucking ridiculous. Yeah. Another I love her lineup because it's all characters that she would have interacted with in Extra in the previous Holy Grail War. So she literally just picks the best opponents that she had to fight, plus Archer, which I guess he doesn't really fit into the... Like, trying to make Extra's storyline canon with Extella doesn't really work for Archer. So... he probably, I guess by Extella's explanation, it would have been Nero and Tamamo working towards the Grail, and Nero won, but Archer was kind of just there in allegiance with them, like teaming up with them or supporting them from the shadows, and was just sort of this, again, as the name would suggest, nameless third party that just kind of helped out a little bit. Head pats.
Head pat. I love you in this one.
But I absolutely love this team dynamic. All of these servants are very appropriate for her team, and they play off of each other very interestingly as well. Ku and Archer have some very interesting dialogue in Ku's side story, and Archer kind of compensates for what Nero's shortcomings are by being able to be a tactician, which she's not the best at ultimately, in spite of her historical reputation.
He's like, yep.
It's like, I don't need a fancy introduction. So they're basically saying the heroic spirit that he is based off of Headpat's Nero does not exist in this in their records, so they can't. There's no Shiro for them to draw from when creating this man that nobody knows. Which I think is... I love Archer in the Extraverse, though, because I feel like he really gets to do some cool things outside of the constraints of his ideological hangups that he has in Fate, and gets to really kind of flex his skills a little bit. Extraverse Archer is also slightly stronger than Fate Archer, which is interesting, considering that you would think that Rin would provide more substantial buffs to Archer than she does. But what's interesting about Extella in specific is that there doesn't appear to be any limit to mana on the Moon Cell, or at least, I don't know if that has to do with the Regalia, or if that's just they didn't bother to write that into the plot. of Extella, or if it literally is just the case where they just don't have to worry about it. Like, they can literally just go all out, and they certainly seem to do so. So there's never really a time in this game where the servants are like, oh, I've expended too much mana, I need to retreat for now. But we'll settle this again later, like they do in the other series. They're very much just like... And not to say that every single battle is decisive, because obviously we have to fight some of the same servants over again in multiple encounters throughout the game, so they don't get killed off when we beat them. But
I'm glad nobody can.
squish those pecs.
So
Yeah.
are those heavy?
我々も失礼し
Let me hold them for you.
セラフは今
I love you.
Yep, and they're gone.
あらごとがあれば声をかけるがいい
What was that?
私はそうですね彼らの要望
I like the flower pattern in his armor
それ
there.
に応えるのも王の責務かと
我が配下ながら
Like, not just the pattern, but he's like got one thing on his leg.
それは
the
今後
other
の
leg
課題
doesn't
とし
have
よ
Oh, so he's totally asymmetrical.
it. Yeah, something like that.
That's
Fuck
a little-
that.
う
little irritating.
本番だ
Alright, so they're disappearing, and so am I.
Okay.
My tailbone hurts.
Okay, I'm just gonna keep going.
That's fine. I know. We're about to find out.
見るがいい奏者よこれが新しいセラフ記号聖杯戦争のルールで守られていた
Yeah, so I don't know if
ここは勝手が違う
the
端的に
Mireille Aurum
誰もが
forming itself like this is caused by Nero doing it willingly, or if she's just kind of set it into motion and it's just completing it by itself. But it looks like it's in the middle of being constructed right now out of just raw data space, and she's filling it in with her Roman aesthetic, which is pretty cool.
ちょうどこの先に大量の適正プログラムが集まっている
Wait, does that mean those things can kill me?
当然であろう我が奏者は極上
That's bad. I'm not a fighter. I know one program, how to code cast.
うんそうなのだ世も今気づいたすまぬせっかくの晴れ舞台すぐ隣で奏者よそなたは後方に下がっていてくれ
I don't think that dialogue option matters.
いや嬉しい誠に嬉しいだがそれはそれこれはこれだこたびの戦いは一騎打ちではなく
I understand, but even by her side, I'll be more of a liability than an ally. But I don't want that to push me away from her even if I can't fight. I still want to support her. If I don't do that, I have no right to be called Saber's master. And then we just get shoved into the ring. I can hear Saber's voice. More than that, I can see her and feel her warmth. Somehow the whole of my consciousness is now inside the ring.
確かにそのようだな世もマスターとのつながりを感じもしやこれは世の仕業なのかそんなことばかり考えていたからレガリアが勝手に発動してしまったと
Well, at least it feels like there's enough room in here, so I don't need to panic. In fact, I kind of like this. Now I can be next to Saber from now and not slow her down.
そうであったな 今は姫事より戦いの時。さすがは我がマスター、頼りになる。
So that shield is actually new for Fate Extella. It was previously not in Extra. So here's our first proper mission, and this one's interesting because I feel like it's the perfect introductory level for this game, because it sort of funnels you through the different sectors in a linear path, and forces you to go in a certain direction. Even though it technically is open-ended, we can't exit this first sector until we deal with the aggressors here, and we are playing on the hardest difficulty, aren't we? I think I should be able to check. Yeah, difficulty very hard. Okay, just wanted to double check because Nero is going to be strong, and this, of course, is the easiest level in the game. But I just wanted to make sure the damage I was dealing was right. So we can't really get out of here until we clear this out, and they only let us fill up 2 of the aggressor spawn gauges at a time. So we have to go through 2 and then kill 2 more. We should be able to just get off an Extella maneuver here to spawn in maybe the other 2. Only going to just tap it and not use the rest of my gauge. Whether it be because of the equipment we have equipped, like the install skills, or the just Nero's level, she has an insane amount of notches in her Extella maneuver gauge. So we should be able to use that quite a bit. The Extella maneuver, while some people think it's just kind of cheap, I have found it actually to be pretty strategic in a way, because it you can use it to either get a sustained amount of damage on a single enemy, or you can use it to just tap 1 time and get in a quick AoE attack, and by doing so you can clear out a lot of the small attack program mobs and get a lot of kills quickly to fill up those spawn gauges. So you kind of have to make a decision, especially if so like right here, I'm just going to go ahead and tap it once just to get the AoE attack off, because it basically costs me nothing. I'll refill that 1 notch of the gauge almost immediately, and by doing so I wipe out every attack program on the screen, which gives me a ton of QP and spawns in the remaining aggressors. So sometimes you just have to do that in terms of like time management in order to get oh my god, what are the elements of the sector traps here? Okay, ice, I can deal with that. So one of the things about the hardest difficulty setting as well is that one of the things they've done, aside from just increasing general damage, is they have loaded these maps with sector traps, like absolutely lousy with the things. And sector traps can almost kill, if not kill outright, your character. And so we need to be extremely careful about that. Now, one of the things that I've done to counteract that is I have a pretty good piece of equipment on right now that it has 5 casting of heal. I think I went the wrong way. Yeah, I wasn't paying attention. Or can we not? Yeah, I was not looking at the mini map at all there. It has 5 castings of a heal, plus 10 castings of ice and poison resist, and 8 castings of lightning resist. So we can resist pretty much every single sector trap except for fire. So if we had a map that had primarily fire sector traps, we could just change out our equipment. Typically, maps will have a dominant element that represents the sector traps that it has. So this one they're all ice. But some maps will vary it up and have a 2 or maybe even 3 elements alternating. Oh man, these guys are bad. So these are the worst kinds of aggressors, are these hammer users. And so I've got to be very careful with these guys. Maybe get in a quick dash. You may also see me spam the dash attack a little bit, and the reason is it has the biggest AoE when dealing with these smaller attack programs. It lets us fill up our gauge really quickly. I had to kind of quickly dash away with a dash cancel there. I'm just going to go ahead and get another Extella maneuver off on this guy, just because, again, we have the gauge to spare. And these hammer guys are normally a very high-level enemy we would only encounter in the Golden Poem arc on lower difficulties, but on the highest difficulty, you can encounter them pretty much anywhere. Also, we saved Ku, no big surprise there. We're going to go ahead and eat a bento box right here, just to get our health back. And I now have 2 of the cipher keys needed to unlock my Noble Phantasm. I keep forgetting what they're actually called. I think they're just called Phantasm keys in this or something like that. I love the version of the scene in Ku's side story because he's basically just like, oh, what is that racket? Get her out of here. And he just shows up and just blasts away all these attack programs that are just like, I guess supposed to be like rooting for her. And introducing Elizabeth Bathory. Ugh. Not a big fan of hers. She's a bit annoying, but one of the things that's cool is that her involvement with the story it's kind of a joke, but it actually pays off way, way later on, where her being a bit of a pain in the rear end comes up as a benefit, you could say. She was originally introduced in Fate Extra CCC, and while, again, we don't really know a whole lot about that game because of the translation, she had sort of a neutral role in that game, too. So right here, she's technically allied with Tamamo's team, but she is just sort of doing her own thing here. She is a thorn in Tamamo's side through most of the game. So she spawned in a certain enemy type here called a plant. Plants are much, much more common and plentiful later on in the game, and they are essentially aggressor spawners, so they increase the total amount of aggressors that can spawn in any given sector, and if you destroy the plant before those aggressors spawn in, you eliminate them from the potential spawn pool. Here I'm going to use an Extella maneuver again to get the AoE attack off. That could probably damage the aggressors that have spawned in and get the other 2 spawned in right away. Yeah, we almost killed these ones up here, so we should be able to knock them both out. Okay, that's those 3 down, and then just the last 2. Oh, we got another ice sector trap. We'll go ahead and block that. This game also has a function where when certain things like that, like a sector trap, are about to go off, you can hear the, it's like your servant is talking to the master, and so you have voices that come out of the PS4 controller, which is interesting. I don't think any other version of the game has that. Obviously, the Vita version does it, and I don't think the Switch version does, especially not in handheld mode, because it would just be coming out of the same speakers as the game audio. So as you can see, it kind of led me down this linear path where I got all of my Noble Phantasm pieces, went to the sector that Elizabeth was at for the plant tutorial, and then got over here to where she's inevitably going to spawn in, and did that pretty much with optimal speed. So we're already in the sector that she's going to spawn in. Get another ice sector trap here. Wait for it to go off. Now, one of the things that's interesting here is that Elizabeth is actually kind of tanky in this fight. So, like, even though this is the... I shouldn't have picked it up when I did. Even though this is the first boss in the game, she has a lot of health and takes generally a really long time to beat, even though, again, she's the first boss. Some of that is the fact that we're playing on very hard mode, but some of it is also that, like I said, she's just surprisingly kind of tough. Okay, yeah, let's block that. Okay, we're in good shape. We're just going to go ahead and dump our Extella maneuver gauge into her. Just use all of these because we're about to finish out this mission anyway, so we might as well. Now I have my moon drive gauge is full as well, but I don't really want to use that because we use it automatically at the beginning of the next level, so she can also deal some really serious damage with that air juggle thing she does there. But let's go ahead and fire off our Noble Phantasm. Let's just go ahead and nuke her to death and finish her off. And she's still alive. How irritating. Dang, she did a crap ton of damage there. Oh, it's good her moon drive is still enabled too. Watch out for these hammer guys. Yeet! Alright, that is the first stage over and done with. There's a lot more where that came from. Of course it is. So I tell her that from right by her side. I say it while reaching out to touch her fingers. Mood.
ここではその配下の4機たちもいや違うぞ。要は前のめりな奏者の情熱をこそ受け。しかしあれだ。
Maybe it's sort of my opinion on the fan service as well as like maybe it's me being like, you know, a regular straight guy or whatever, but for some reason the fan service seems way more innocent when it's the female protagonist. I know some people complain about the amount of fan service in this. Compared to, you know, because it just comes across as more sleazy and pandering when it's the male protagonist, whereas when it's the female protagonist, it just comes across as more sincere and more fun. I don't know. Maybe that's my narrow-mindedness or whatever. There are no further signs of the enemy. Just as Saber says, this area has become her territory. That being said, I can stay by her side a bit longer. Or can I? In that instant, a creak snaps from inside and outside my body. Did I exhale? Did I speak? I don't know what just came out of my lips. A low groan? A short scream? Whatever sound I made, it's because I'm in agony. Even my virtual body feels pain. The moon cell is no different from the real world in that regard. Sense is still sense, and pain is still pain. And death is still death.
マイルームへ戻るぞ奏者。そなた顔色が青と聖杯戦争の保健室ほどではなくともマイルームには診断と治療の機能がある。すぐにどうなさるおつもりです。
Boy, here we go.
輝くばかりにイケメンなその魂。何？この陰頭と関係、横連母と悪巧みが一体となった声はいかにもまさしくここにここは我が国神の国。水は潤い実り豊かな中津国。国が打つ穂に水注ぎ高間巡り読み巡り
You can hear her little bells thing as she walks.
スタンダードにキュートな青き装いをまといてサーバントキャスター今ここに水産です。やはりキャスター貴様生きていたのか。
Caster? Who is that servant? Why do I feel nostalgic about her?
懐かしいなどと何を言う。あやつは確かにそなたに協力しかしそれは腹に一物あってのこと。あやつは何やら悪の栄えた試しはなし。そういえば貴様どうしていなくなったのだ。 聖杯戦争の終盤、いつの間にかじゃねえですよ。あなたがムーンセル中枢に通じる道でドーンと私の背中を押
That
して
doesn't sound right.
はて何のことやらわからぬ。世には点でわからぬ。あやつの言い分には一切耳を貸さぬように。純真無垢なご主人様をそそのかしたり横連母していたのはどちらなんだ。まいいですけど、すぐにそちらのご主人様も私のものになりますし、助けを求めるマスターのお声が私の耳にビビッときています。
I love the different levels of inflection that Tamamo's voice actor has. Like, Tamamo's voice actor has such a huge range. I know her. I can't remember exactly, but I'm certain I know this servant. Her name is... Something floats in the back of my mind, like old footage. You know, like memories. That servant in blue is... It was just when I had won the Moon Cell Holy Grail War. There were several people around me, masters, servants, and NPCs. I proceeded towards the Moon Cell core, and then what?
今は貴様の復活に構っている時ではない。文句があれば後ほど来い、キャスター。今は奏者を休ませることが先決だ。貴様とてそれぐらいの心遣いは備えていよう。それはもちろん。ご主人様のお体はそれも今ひとときの辛抱と申しましょう。心が痛みますが、それはそれ、これはこれ。たまには強行手段に訴えるのも。というか、てへ、たまもう取っちゃってるんだな、強行手段。たまにはどころか、いつも強行策なのが貴様だ。まあよい。世も人のことは言えぬ。あえて流す。企みなんて人聞きの悪い。私はただ自分の本性に従っているだけ。ほんと愚かな皇帝陛下。ご自分が何と寄り添っているのかも分からずにレガリアが一つきりだとお思いになって新たな王を気取るのはでもそれも今日この時をもっておしまいです。宣戦布告だと？どちらも言葉通りに。
So it begs the question, how does she have her own regalia and her own Akano Kishinami?
奏者が
My body seizes up in pain. I can't even speak. What's going on? That being next to Castor is definitely me. The same face, the same features, even the look of it. Or from the look of it. We even have the same breathing pattern.
どういうことだ。なぜ奏者をはべらせている。世のマスターがどうして二人。ミコ？あら、お分かりにならないんですね、セバスさん。それは少しだけかわいそうですけど構いません。私の方がずっとかわいそうだったんですから、あなたも少しくらいは苦しむべきと。ですのでかわいそうついでに私宣言しちゃい。宣言？ここに私はのたまいましょう。これよりはセラフ全域の支配をレガリアとご主人様にかけて。
I love how they include the heart in her text there.
妄想全開のよまいごとご苦労だが諦めよ、夢見がちな狐よ。だからこの薬指のレガリア見えません？その証拠に、はい、そちらに情報を転送。現在セラフの支配権はこちら、かわいいたまもちゃんが 50%。
So at this point, Tamamo controls 50% of Seraph's territories, which is pretty significant.
お分かりでしょうか。きれいさっぱり私たちの戦力は拮抗しているのです。半分取られてる。はい、刃物を通した金唾のように美しく半分こです。この数日でセラフの順次拡大に伴う新規領域と基地領域を合わせた全域の 50% ほどですので、残りもあっけなく文字通りすぐにこちらで平らげましょう。ですから
She's staring at me. Despite her threatening words, she seems to sympathize with my pain.
ですからどうかお覚悟を。それまでそちらのご主人様は不本意ながらいずれ仮初めの城は燃え尽きましょう。ムーンセルは私にレガリアを譲渡した。私は警告の美紀。国あらばこれを荒らし、民あらばこれをもてあそぶ。なんなのだあやつ。奏者の双子の皇帝にして神王たる世に対してもう一つのレガリアだと。バカな、そんなはずは。体は大事ないのか。
The surprise appearance of Castor and her partner had distracted me for a moment. But now I feel that pain again. Not only physical pain, but a deep sense of failure. Slowly it begins to subside, but I still can't move yet. But it doesn't hurt as much. At least I'm still looking towards Saber.
そうか、それは何よりだ。
She's like, as I was saying, let's go back to my room.
奏者よ、初陣はどうであった？
Inside the regalia, it felt just like holding her hand. Warm and safe. I could feel my pulse racing against her fingers.
手を握っているときたか。
Is that a triple umu?
同じ思いを抱いていたぞ。普通に手を握るよりも近く、肌と肌をすり抜けてとろう感覚さえあった。ずっと親密というか、温かいというか、心地よいものであった。
Material-wise, it looks like it's made of white gold, though of course it's really a collection of data. Could it be some kind of key code? She keeps referencing the royal authority, but what exactly does that mean? What's with the odd reaction? Is it really confidence she's giving off, or just bravado this time?
許せ。そうなのだ。実は世もよくわからぬ。何しろメモリだけで一つの聖杯戦争分だ。この最大領域と同じか。正直世だけではその進化をつまびらかにするには難しい。だが綺麗な指輪であろう。
I agree from the bottom of my heart. The ring's white golden sheen perfectly matches with her finger. Beautiful, of course. Precious, unquestionably. Just wearing it increases Saber's charm tenfold, enough to overcome any opposing foe.
そうか？いや、そうであろう、そうであろう。内心そうだろうと思っていたのだが、改めてそう言われると鼻高々にしてしまうよであった。
Another
今日
umu.
の奏者はちょっと情熱的だな。自覚がないのか？このようにそなたから迫るなどとなかったぞ、奏者。ついついそなたの瞳に見入ってしまった。世がそなたを陥落させようというのに、世がそなたに陥落されかけるとは、悪くはないかもしれぬな。
I think we get it. Oh, no, nothing really new there. No bond conversations. All right, let's look at what we have. Like, we don't have the next fight yet. Also, we're bond level 27, which means we are very close to hitting level 30 for her already. All right, so the next one we are on to is Mare Melum, the City of Lost Destiny, which is actually more or less a recreation of Fuyuki.
あまり無理をするではないぞ。そなたの顔色は未だ健やかではない。 先ほどよりはいくらかマシだが、今はおとなしく休むが
Oh
よい。
boy, that's quite a question.
砂糖をまぶしたレモンなども
Lemons covered in sugar.
あれは良い。
Saber laughs in ecstasy as she cares for me. Her words and her smile ease my worries, and the pain fades almost completely.
待て、ほとんど消えた。万全でないのは気にかかるが、そなたが嘘を言わずに正直に言ってくれたことは嬉しく思う。
Thank you, Saber. But it's not what you think. I'm fine for now, so I think we should get back to work. We need to know what happened to Seraph after the end of the Holy Grail War, and why Castor has a copy of me.
いつもより2倍増しの行動力。情熱的に過ぎるが、こうなったそなたはテコでも動かぬからな。では、玉座にてムーンセル中枢に演歌。
Now that I think of it, have we confirmed Castor's claim about taking half of our territory? We haven't yet, have we? Since we went straight to my room when we got back. Anyway, it's settled. Off to the throne room now. Pretty sure this is when we get properly introduced to Archimedes.
見ているがよい。玉座に世があることで。
So she's gonna do a scan of Seraph and assess how much territory Castor has under her control.
真実か。ともあれだ。ムーンセル中枢にもアクセスしてみよう。2つ目のレガリアのこと、もう一人の奏者のこと。 アクセス制限がかかっている。そんなはずはない。世はムーンセルに王権を与えられたのだ。今さら白紙にされてたまるものか。それに何よりレガリアはこうしてこの通り。
レガリアの所有者は
Well, if it isn't our antivirus
それは
software.
月の聖杯戦争を経て確定されたサーバント・セイバー。あなたは確かにセラフの神王であらせられる。ですが現在セラフには致命的な異常事態が発生しました。
我が陣に先触れもなく。貴様、何者か。
見ての通りキャスターのサーバントというのはよくありませんね。まずはこちらの誠意を見せなくては。ですので我が神名で答えましょう。我が名はアルキメデス。セラフに選ばれたシステム更新の従事者です。
システム更新。
しかしここにたどり着くまでこれほどの時間がかかろうとは私の計算違いでした。今までシステム管理者の権限に甘え転移ばかり使っていた私が悪いのですが、おっとこちらの都合はまた後で。ようやくお会いすることができました。
That's actually really amusing to me to think that Archimedes has to walk everywhere.
待て、アルキメデスとやら。貴様、アルキメデス。
はい、おそらくそのアルキメデスかと。いや、
I would imagine as a servant that she would know who he is.
いやはや、それは。
当然だ。ローマで貴様を知らぬ者はいない。たしなむ程度であったが、用途で貴様の書物には目を通していた。後に言う早すぎた天才というやつだな。偏屈な人物だったと聞いていたが、しかし先ほどの言葉は聞き捨てならなかったな。
顔見知りですとも。私は共にムーンセル中枢でいくらかの時間を過ごしたものです。
そうなのか。しかし奏者は学士殿のことを知らぬようだ。見よ。ではなく、ではあるが、そうではなく、世の陣に難なく足を踏み入れてみせるとはただものではあるまい。
混乱させて申し訳ない。予告なく訪れたぶしつけは謝罪しましょう。ですが 私はあなた方と敵対するものではありません。神王よ、どうか弁明をお許し願いたい。
いささか遅きに失してはいるが、礼を尽くすか。無下にその首を落とすことはできん。さて、どうする奏者。
I nod to Saber as I think of an answer. System update. Fatal error. I have so many questions.
では改めて自己紹介いたしましょう。我が神名はアルキメです。すでにお気づきのことでしょうが、私はサーバント。
はぐれということか。
いいえ、私は初めからマスターを持たない。ムーンセルがセラフ運営のためにと紹
Not
介した
unheard of. We see that quite a fair bit in the Moon Cell as a whole.
私の役割はムーンセルのシステム更新。ムーンセルは信頼できるメンテナンス技師としてこの私を選んだのです。月の聖杯といえどもシステムであるからには整備は必須。実に14000年の周期ごとにムーンセルは自らのシステム更新
A
を
normal
行い
update
ます
once every 14,000 years seems
次
unlikely.
の14000年という時間、滞りなく自らのシステムを運営させるために、あなたたちの勝利によりセラフの運営は変化し、一方でムーンセルは予定通りシステム更新を行う。この2つは本質的に異なるものであり、
進まなかったという口ぶりだな。
その通り、今やレガリアこそがムーンセルの王権。14000年ごとのシステム更新もレガリアの力なくては進みません。すなわち私が自らの召喚された目的を果たすには、正しくシステム更新が行われていればセラフ各領域で適正プログラムの群れが出現することも。
そう。
敵による襲撃です。
敵とな。
名称、所属、目的は不明。王権登録のためムーンセル中枢へと赴かれた巨大にして異様の何者か。あれはあまりに強
At least he's like somewhat telling the truth here, and I mean he is honest in the sense that he needs to borrow the regalia. It's not a good
適
idea.
正プログラムか、それともサーバントの宝具か。
不明です。まるで寝台以前の巨人のごとき。
Yeah, I mean he's being truthful. An image floats in the back of my mind. Just a fragment, hard to make out, but I do remember that giant hand reaching out for me. And a voice, like an echo inside a deep cavern. The words it spoke, it called itself Solo Servant.
そうなのか、奏者。
お互いに無事で何よりでした。ですが、神王よ、そこで問題が発生したのです。
Again, he's technically telling the truth because the splitting of the regalia is what caused Tamamo to actually have her own copy of us, not to mention it seems like he's saying that the system update that the Moon Cell would go through every 14,000 years didn't evenly distribute because there were different people holding access to the admin permissions because there were two copies of the regalia, which I guess makes sense. Yes, I think I'm starting to understand. The reason why there are two regalia is that the one was split and stolen.
はい、ご推察の通り、レガリアは敵の襲撃によって2個に分割され、
王権登録を得て奏者が持ち帰ってくれたのは片方で、もう片方をあのキャスター、ダギツネが散奪せしめた。奏者をムーンセル中枢で襲った敵とやらもあやつであるに違いない。
Not quite, Nero.
怪しげな。
Not quite.
ムーンセル中枢を襲った敵は強力でした。私の力では撃退することも叶わず、命からがら。正直にそう申し上げましょう。かろうじて命をつなぎながら、私は あなたを中枢から離脱させました。
I don't think that's true, technically.
古代ギリシャに名高い大天才アルキメデス。学士殿、ここに世は感謝の意を示すとしよう。その働き、レガリアの片割れを奪われた件はともかく、奏者を逃してくれたことは大いに嬉しく思う。
もったいなきお言葉です、ネロ陛下。あなたこそ正当なセラフの王であらせられる。その伴侶たるマスターを守ることはシステム補助要員としては当然のことです。何しろ正しいのですから。数学的に正しい形、秩序ある王国こそですので、どうか私のことは一介の学士としてもてなすようお願いします。
当然の断りか。その口ぶりでは。
Good
まさしく
question.
お言葉の通り、もう一つのレガリアを有する者はギナル王、サーバントキャスター、その神名賜物前。
やはりか。万が一、いや、
Tamamo no Mai. I feel like I've heard that name somewhere before. The name was a pull for, or name has a pull for me, a deeper meaning. Did we fight together once in the war? But something doesn't add up. If we fought side by side, why can't I remember anything else about her?
記憶の欠落がある、そうおっしゃっていましたね、神王よ。おそらくそれはレガリア分割の折に奪われたからでしょう。
Yeah, again, that's technically correct.
はっきりと申せ。
では神王の予想通りの回答を。奪われたものは明白です。半身に違いなく。我が固有スキル、術理解明によって失礼ながらすでに状態は把握させていただきました。すなわち
So, one of Archimedes' skills is called method elucidation. Allows me to discern such things. In other words, at present, Hakanoki Shinami exists only as a mind implanted in artificial form. Interesting. I only exist as a what? No, but as a wizard, my soul and mind have already been uploaded to the moon. There's nothing unusual about that now.
電脳体を構成する要素の一種、実経験に基づいて形成された、それだけでかろうじて存在しているかりそめの電脳体が。
要素一つだけなの。
はい、それでも明確な個人であるとは言えます。精神はその重要性に反比例するように数値的な角度が極めて低い。記憶や経験、情熱は人格をなす最も重要。例えば魂のような専用の記録媒体がなくては。
許す。続けよ。
消え失せるのみ。現状のままでは。
消えてしまうというのか。ならばキャスターの連れていたのは。
はい、レガリアと共に引き裂かれ奪われてしまった半身。
So the mind and the soul are split. The mind being with Nero and the soul with Tamamo. This is starting to make sense. My memory loss, my physical condition, both for the same reason. If nothing else, I understand this much. I don't want to die. For the sake of Seraph and my own soul, we have to repair the regalia and do something about that caster. No matter what. Besides, there's Saber to consider. I don't want to see her with that sad look.
奏者よ。そなたは微笑んでみせるのだな。
It's okay. This won't be hard at all. I'm here, she's here, and it's obvious what we have to do. Reclaim all of Seraph, restore the regalia. How hard could that be?
微力ながら私も力をお貸ししましょう、神王。正当なる王はセラフにただ一人、一刻も早くレガリアを一つに戻し、あなたのお許しをいただき、
ならば学士殿は我が軍師となるがよい。
Okay, alright.
世の半とのおよそ半数。まったく 忌々しい関係狐め。
No need to worry. If she can take our land, we can take it back. She might think she owns her half, but we'll show her how wrong she really is.
確かにずる賢い敵であれば反逆の意はそなた強気なのだな。
She's not gonna shake me. I know Saber's the right person to wear the regalia. And I know Saber's going to win. Castor doesn't stand a chance against her.
当然よか似合う誰よりもそういうのだな。そしてそんな風に微笑んでくれるのだな。わかった。
Double Umu.
まずはそなたを休息させるのが下級だが、世はそなたの当然であり続けよう。すなわちローマ帝国第5代皇帝にしてムーンセルに選ばれしセラフただ一人の神王ネロ・クラウディウスがここに告げる。世はそなたと共にセラフ統一を果たす世の国取りの始まりである。
Her words echo throughout the room. Her declaration, her real name. An ally I could never forget. We fought together, we survived together, and through it all, we held each other. The Emperor of Roses, Nero Claudius. Centuries ago, the citizens of ancient Rome showered her with praise and applause. And here we are, fighting together again. Nothing can come between us, no matter who we're up against, even if it's me. All I care about is being with her. Honestly, that's all that's keeping me moving. Okay, let me make sure we have the correct thing equipped here. So, let's see what kind of sector traps are up for here. Poison, perfect, we have resistance to that. So here we go. Yeah, very hard. Okay, so this map is interesting because, like I said, it's more or less a recreation of Fuyuki, so it uses a lot of famous locations from Fate Stay Night and Fate Zero. This first chapter here is where Artoria and Diarmuid fought in Fate Zero, with the shipping containers, and they all got torn up and destroyed over the course of that fight.
ご推察の通りレガリアの王権を持ち
ムーンセルから直接
At the beginning of this battle here, we're going to be forced to use our Moon Drive, and specifically with characters that wield the Regalia, so Nero and Tamamo, it will be a special Moon Drive called the Moon Crux, which will allow us to transform into a new form. Pouring mana into the Regalia, since I'm fused with the ring, I can easily visualize how to do that. I wrap around Saber's finger and move as close to her as possible. I try to imagine the paths of intertwined circuits. The ring connected to Saber, myself. I lay my breathing over hers. I lay my mana over hers. And then... Alright, we're in the battle. Yeah, so we have like an insane amount of tough aggressors here, so we're forced to just go ahead and use it, so... Torrential Form! I absolutely love this outfit for her too. So yeah, the Moon Crux is insanely powerful, and the gauge does run out pretty quickly, so you can't really use it for too long, and I try not to use it against regular enemies anyway, but it also doesn't really have much variety in terms of combos, unlike the regular combos we have just playing as Nero, so you can pretty much just spam and you'll still deal a sufficient amount of damage. Okay, I was almost worried there the gauge was going to run out before I finished the job here. But yeah, that's pretty much that. We captured that sector just in time for the for our drive to run out. And then we're going, there's no Noble Phantasm piece here. We're going to go ahead and transition out. Now, the unfortunate part here, I think I actually skipped the part of the cutscene unintentionally. But Now we have to deal with Medusa, who is on Tamamo's faction, and she has just enabled the Blood Fort Andromeda, as she does in Fate Stay Night. And being that this, of course, is the Fuyuki map, it makes sense for her to do that. What that has done is it has super-powered Lu Bu, another servant on Tamamo's team. So we basically have to capture the sectors that are under Tamamo's control, where the where the sigils are the anchor, the Blood Fort Andromeda in place. So it's very similar to on Fate Stay Night, how they just had to destroy the sigils to disable the Blood Fort kind of thing. We're gonna do the same thing here. Now I'm gonna go ahead and try to take this sector. Just to give Ku a little bit of a helping hand. I also need Lu Bu to blitzkrieg out of the sector that he's in right now, because I will not be able to take it with him in there. Of course, okay, so it looks like he did. So we can leave. We captured this sector. There's already enemies in it, so let's go ahead and head over here. This one should be easy to take. Well, it does have quite a few aggressors in it. It doesn't let us spawn more than 2 at one time here. It's a little bit irritating, but it's also got a poison sector trap, which of course I accounted for. This is a pretty challenging map to deal with early on, and that being said, I find it kind of silly, the people that said they had a hard time with this game, because, whoops, I just got yeeted by the hammer. We're going to actually put quite a few notches of our Extella maneuver gauge into these guys, because there's a what do you call that? There's a entire pot of sake over here we need to refill our Extella maneuver gauge. Where is it? Yeah, there's a bottle, and then there's the giant pitcher right there, basically. But yeah, this is a pretty challenging map to have so early on in the game. And so this one has, with so many complex objectives, this one can definitely punish a lot of newer players and that kind of thing, especially if they don't understand the concept of the super-powered servants. It can be pretty difficult. But what's funny is I played and finished this, obviously, on the Japanese version, not knowing what my objectives were, because, of course, I couldn't read any of the dialogue, but I still managed to finish it just fine by just paying attention to icons on the map. And so I know quite a few people that have had a surprisingly hard time with this game for no real reason that I can think of. Now, looks like Ku has moved on to engage Lu Bu as per Fate Extra. So he is now engaged with him over in this other sector over here. We do not have to capture that sector, so unfortunately we will probably lose Ku to Lu Bu here over the course of this. We'll just go ahead and show off Lu Bu's introduction here. He's pretty freaking cool, and actually they faithfully adapted his design pretty perfectly into Fate by keeping his signature head tendril things and his spear being almost exactly the same as they are in like the Dynasty Warriors games, which is interesting. Can't have a Muso game without Lu Bu, right? Another poison sector trap here. I'm just going to go ahead and fire off the Extella maneuver, try to get some aggressors to spawn in, and we'll go ahead and take this one and the one above it. So this, of course, this map is this sector rather is a reference to the top of the roof of the school in Fuyuki, which several scenes in Fate Stay Night take place at. And I don't want that quite yet. Okay, these are sword-wielding aggressors. That's pretty much fine. They're not the... took them out actually super easily. That sword blade attack, similar to Excalibur, is very powerful on Nero there. But my favorite combo is, I think, is where you hit square 4 times and hit triangle. You do the little spinning attack, because you can chain that into a aerial combo. Let me try to show it off right here. Nope, it was one too soon. Nope, still one too soon. Alright, poison resist. Nope, that was one too late. Keep doing the wrong combo. At least this game is not super punishing on which combos it forces you to do. You can also sometimes if you've done enough hits, you can sometimes do an aerial combo, and when you land, you can chain the sort of blade blast attack thing there into it, which is really cool. And, oh my god. Yeah, those hammer guys, not only do they do a crap ton of damage, but they just launch you all over the place. I thought I saw yakisoba bread there. I did. Yeah, every sector in this is a reference to another scene in Fuyuki from, typically from Fate Stay Night, but also from Zero with the Gyarmu fight there we saw. But there's only a couple of different sectors, and they sort of mimic each other. All right, we cleared that one, no problem. And our moon drive gauge is full again. We're going to pick up the thing of sake to fully restore our Extella maneuver gauge. And this is the Ryoto Temple, so of course we have to fight up the steps to the Ryoto Temple. And not a lot of attack programs spawn down here. And actually, it's funny, if you look right here, we have the Holy Grail itself sort of being formed in here, a la the ending of Unlimited Blade Works, which is pretty cool. So this is full of all kinds of cool little references, and you know, we all know how many different fights have happened here. These enemies up here there's some cube throwing attack programs that are yeeting cubes at us that are fire elemental. We don't have any resistance to that, but we don't really need to because we're just going to destroy them. I want the aggressors to spawn in. There's no plants in this mission, thank God. But like I said, we do have to deal with Lubu. After we, if I get really lucky here, I will take out all of these sectors, and Ku will still be alive. We also have Li Shuen as our guard the poison sector trap. There we go. There's that spinning attack. See how you can combo it into an aerial attack like that. And sometimes when you land and hit triangle again, you get the blade blast. Alright, so we disabled the blood fort, so let's go kick Lubu's ass. And Ku is... How much health does Ku have? I don't see him yet. Alright. Oh, man. Dang, he hits hard. Should be expected out of Lubu of all people, but he's like the only berserker in this game as well. Extella Link would add Lancelot. Yeah, he's the only berserker in this game. Actually, I don't even care that I use all of my Extella maneuver gauge here, because by beating him, even though there's several sectors still under the control of Tamamo's forces. There we go. That's the combo I wanted to do. I didn't get the blade blast thing at the end, but no. We want to be careful when enemy servants guard, because if you hit them too many times, they will parry you, and it will deal a lot of damage. I'm going to hold off on using my code cast heals, because we just get a full bento box meal there, which healed everything for me. Ku is, at least fighting Li Shuen, not Ku, I should say, and he's actually doing pretty well there. Alright, so we beat back Lubu, and servants are worth a huge amount of points. So, one of the fastest ways to complete the regime matrix is to beat the enemy servants on the enemy team, because for one, they're going to capture your sectors the quickest, and then two, they're going to be worth a lot of points. So if you lose territory to an enemy servant, and then you I'm going on off the beaten path kind of way here to get my noble phantasm pieces, because one of them has avoided another poison sector trap there. Hopefully I can avoid the one over here too, because it's kind of random when... Oh, there's a plant. Never mind. It's kind of random when the sector actually decides it wants to deploy the sector trap. Bozoka. I just want my Noble Phantasm Cypher Key, and the last one is in the same sector that Medusa is in, so we're just going to dash over there, beat the sector trap, and here she is. And this sector is actually already under our control, which is interesting. I think Ku might be fighting her. Yeah, he's actually got plenty of health, so we're in good shape there. So I want to... let's go ahead and fire off the Moon Crux again and just deal some damage to her. This might actually kill her, depending on We're a little bit over leveled for these early chapters, but as we get later on to the game, it's going to be that much more important that we're at a high level, especially when we get to Tamamo and Altera's route. Tamamo's route is just going to be absolutely excruciating if we're not at a high level. Alright, so she parried parried Ku there, and now I just get a chance to deal some heavy damage to her. Even if we're using Moon Crux, she can still guard against us, which is a little bit irritating. Alright, she's going to go ahead and use her own Moon Drive here, which we don't really care about that because we are way stronger with our Regalia. Our gauge is about to run out, which is fine because we'll just finish her off with our Noble Phantasm. And maybe that's flexing, maybe it's not. I just like the Noble Phantasm being the final blow, and it's hard to tell exactly how much damage it does because I'm always using it to finish off the enemy servant. All right.
お役に立てると思ったんですね。やるものです。敵ながらお見事でした。ところで奏者よ。玉の支配領。
Tamamo domains.
仮に分かりやすいであろう。何事も分かりやすさ伝わ。
Tamamo land.
パマモ？何の略なのだそれは。ああよい、言わずともよい。さて、九段の玉の支配領域も残りわずか。
Oh, will you please just fuck off? No, it doesn't.
私のものよ。ウィザードもサーバントもないわ。ありとあらゆる知性体はこのセラフの家。
Nice sweater.
貴様はそう、私。
Pinker and more powerful than ever.
をまとってダークエリもしくはダークエリザとでも呼ぶがいいわ。なーにその顔。驚いているのね。怯えているのね。あたしこそセラフ全土を脅かす深淵より来たりし暗黒の美紀ダークエリもし
Dark Eliza. Well, it's simple, like Tamamo domain's simple, but that servant, she has something in common with Saber, that's for sure.
ダークエリザベートか。
Like her
そのままなのだな。
translation of it, Dark Urzabet.
言葉にできぬほど残念だ。ダークエリよ、もしくはダークエリザ。なんでエリザベートまで言い切っちゃうのよ。まさかこの完璧なドレスチェンジが通用しなかったというの？そう、通用しなかったのだ。共にアイドルとして己を高め合うライバルの声一つ。その姿は多少変わっているようだが、貴様はまず間違いなく世のヒットチャート仲間。さすがはセイバー。それではライバルよ。世と奏者は主要があるゆえ、セラフ統一の暁にはいずれまた互いを高め合うべくステージを開こう。合同ライブ？
No.
私も一緒に。じゃなくて、そうじゃないのよ。そうじゃないんだから。
Also, I think we have a panty shot here, if I'm not mistaken.
運命の激突なのよ。私とあなたは。いいことセイバー、悪いこともいいことも言わないわ。セラフのトップアイドルを争うライバルとして最初で最後の忠告をしてあげる。そのレガリアを渡しなさい。 マスターともども手足を引きちぎ。いや、それは無理なのだぞ。レガリアは世のものだし、奏者も世のものだしな。何よ、たっぷり間を持たせておきながらそれよこしなさいよ、レガリア。だってあなただけが王だなんて。
Yeah, we're not the least bit threatened by you. You're like one of the weakest servants in this game.
むむ、大王とな。その胸で大と言われても困る。要は胸の話をしてるんじゃないわよ。っていうか、そんなのすぐにクリアするわよ。大きければいいんでしょ。大きければ。
Sorry, Dark Ellie, but you can't. When heroic spirits are first created, they're already given their ideal form. No matter how much you may grow as a person, well, you'll never grow that way.
であるな。悲しいが、身体改造のスキルでもない限り未来はない。分かってないわね。私が言っているのはそんなスケールの小さな話じゃないの。私はセラフのルールになんて縛られない。ムーンセルワもはるかに超えてみせる。そう。
The Great King of Terror. I wonder if that's a what is it, Nostradamus reference? Great King of Terror. Why does that sound familiar? And Mars? Why does she specifically reference Mars?
どこかで聞いたような。
Yeah, she's like, you don't know the Great King of Terror? I'm quoting a pretty famous prophet here. You've never heard of him? Yeah, it's Nostradamus.
あの予言を真実にしてあげるの。私が新しいビッグなスター。パクリか。やはりそのままなのだな。ダーク。あ、またフルネーム。もうや。
That's funny how her expression perked up there.
まあいいわ。一緒に戦った義理はこれで果たしたから、私はもう敗北者にはならない。牢獄も救済もいらない。だから誰であろうと容赦はしない。この領域のボスであろうと私に逆らうなら後悔するのはあなたよ、セイバー。エリザベート、何かよからぬ様子であったが。いや、しかし今は領地。読む奏者と話し、今日のところはや。気分はどうだ、奏者よ。要はな、実はな、すこぶる調子が良いのだ。奏者が
It's like whenever this music comes on, we know shenanigans are about to unfold here.
今も高ぶっているのだ。体も心もな。理由はあれだ。あれだぞ。思い返すまでもなく、今なおはっきりと感じているのだ。世の全身を包んで新たな装いとなってあの時は勢いよく口にしたが、この高ぶりが伝わるだろうか。感じたであろう。
Yeah, no, we definitely noticed.
世の感じるすべて、そう思うとな、高ぶってしまって今も動機が収まらぬ。そなたはどうだ。
Every moment of that encounter is perfectly set in my memory now. And when I think back, it's just like touching her again. It's almost embarrassing to talk about.
どうした奏者。なぜそんな風に恥ずかしげに目をそらす。顔を赤くしたりするな。いや、やましいことなどないぞ。ないったらないのだぞ。
When I see her blushing too, I find myself able to look back at her again. I hold her gaze and she holds mine. She must be nearly as flustered over all this as I am. Until we can be together again, in just that way, I'll have to endure our time apart. My memories will have to do for now. She asked me how I'm feeling. I should tell her I want to say I'm feeling wonderful, but as soon as I open my mouth, my vision tilts sharply and I fall unconscious. Oh, yeah, sure, whatever you want.
正確にはやるせないという感情に似たものを覚え、私にとって感情と呼ばれるものは
We wouldn't want that.
だから私は誰も理解してはいけないし、理解されてはなのにお前は私を見つめてくる。それは不確かで不安で、それを忘れないことだ、マスター。逆らうのならそうだ、お前さえいなければいい。お前さえいなければ、ああ、まったくいつこのどうしたのだ奏者。何を突然ぼーっとして。
How should I answer that? All of a sudden, Saber was gone and there was someone else in her place. A maiden in white, brown skin, thin figure, red eyes. A warrior. That's how I could best describe her. She'd be right at home with a sword in her hand, just like Saber. I tell her everything right away without holding back a single detail.
白い少女とな。世と同じ。
That's right.
めまいの後に見えたと。なるほど。
Yes, I believe so.
そうしゃよ。いかに体調が悪いとは
She's mad. She's so mad.
大切な時間のさなかというのに、何もほんのわずかなめまいの瞬間に浮気をすることもないではないか。
All I can do is listen and nod. I shouldn't have fallen asleep during such an important talk. But seriously. Oh my god. I won't pick the dialogue option that'll make her more upset. Aren't there other things we need to think about? For example, that memory I just witnessed from the Holy Grail War. That wasn't even the only thing I remembered.
そういう話をしているのではない。わ、今日はな、泣くぞ。泣いてしまうぞ。よいのか。それはもうワンワン泣くぞ。今
Stop being so dramatic, Nero.
もうダメだ。やはり耐えられぬ。名も知らぬ幻の女などに浮気されてしまって。
I don't want to make Saber cry. She's more important to me than anyone. Without hesitation, I tell her, I don't want you to cry. I don't ever want to make you cry. I only feel this way for you. I stare deeply into her eyes without looking away.
ずるいぞ。そなたはずるい。なんということだ。泣かせないなどと言って微笑んでみせる。そのよう、いやそれこそがそなたなのか。情熱が形になったかのような。今のそなたはおそらく情熱そのものなのだ。通りであれこれと前のめりなはずだ。あらゆる事態に前のめりなのだな。セラフの国取りやレガリアの奪還だけでなく。
Her tears have stopped. Thank goodness, now we can both be at ease. I need a rest, badly.
世をたっぷり高ぶらせたり戸惑わせたり好き放題して眠るのだな。よい、そんな勝者も。だがこの借りはきっと返すぞ。
さて、強烈ながらご報
Alright,
告
I
申し上げましょ
think
う。
that's probably where I want to cut it off. As much as I want to keep going further tonight, but I'm really getting tired, so I think that might be it for this first session. Not nearly as far as I would like, but then again, we are listening to all of the dialogue, so it is making the game much longer than it otherwise would be. If we were just going from combat to combat in the actual missions themselves and skipping all of the cutscenes, then we would have this entire route already finished by now. But such is the nature of what we're doing here, so I'm fine with that. We're going to go ahead and cut it off now, and I'll have my first session worth of footage for the video. I won't start doing any script writing or anything until we are completely done with the entire game. And I have not really a solid timeline as to when we will get finished with the entire game, but regardless, thank you guys for watching, and we will see you guys next time.